Alright, good morning people of YouTube. So we are back again today with pure AguBond. We've danced around the subject for quite a while on the channel. I brought you, a Goonie Bob. I brought you, I guess Alda-BOB. I brought you Alderman Security Control. I've had a couple other decks feature this style. But I haven't brought pure AguBond yet, so we'll go ahead and give my take on that deck here on the channel. So yeah, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We are still trying to reach 1,000 subscribers so we can do a big giveaway. So all of your help would be greatly appreciated, and thank you again so much for all the support that the channel has been given so far. Really can't stress that enough. So let's go ahead and start with the Digitama. I got 4 of the Demi-Meramon and 1 of the Starter Deck GGmon. Starter Deck GGmon is more of a placeholder egg. It kind of has a chance to trigger off of Bob's effect, and it can pump Bob up to 16,000, which will let you hit bigger DP thresholds. And that's kind of the reason that he's in here, but mostly he's just in here as a 5th egg. Demi-Meramon is by far the most important one, because this gives you without 1,000 extra power whenever you're hitting security. Matters for your Greymon, matters for your rookies, because it'll let your rookies actually live sometimes, and that's really nice. But yeah, going right ahead into the level 3s, I got 4 of the Chonky Agumon from Bt6, the one that gives you an extra security attack. I got 3 of the Agumon from Bt1 that'll let you search Tamers. Kind of want to add a 4th one in, but I'm still undecided. 3's been working out so far, and this is the bare minimum that I would play. I have 4 copies of the Starter Deck Agumon that gives you plus 2,000 when you swing at security. This is essential for your Greymon. That will get you an extra security attack, and it will also let your Bob hit 16 whenever you're swinging security. So that way, if they try to block with a boosted Craniumon or something, you're still hitting over. We got 2 copies of the original Starter Deck Agumon, the one that gives you plus 1,000 on your turn. This is just a generic DP boost that is nice. It's not as good as the new Starter Deck Agumon, but it acts as a 5th and 6th copy of cards that will boost your DP. So this combined with the Demi-Mera can give you the same boost that this one would give you innately. So it is nice. I have 2 copies of the Promo Agumon. I am liking this card, this format, just because people are playing a lot of rookies. However, I don't know if 2 is the correct number because we aren't playing Nokia to be able to hard play it for free. Might go down to 1, but it is pulling its weight so far at 2. But I've also been playing against a lot of Bond matchups at my local meta, so I do really enjoy this card, and I think it does have a place in the deck. I just don't know if that place is a 1 or a 2 of. And then the last Agumon that we're playing is the 2-cost Agumon. So this is an advantage that this deck has over GabuBond, because GabuBond does not have a 2-cost Gabumon. And this deck has a 2-cost Agumon. So you can play vanillas and kind of memory choke your opponent while also keeping bodies on board that you can warp on top of. And that's wonderful. So these are the rookies that I am playing. This is one that you aren't typically going to put in your raising area because it will cost you a memory to evolve it. But that still leaves you with the 4, 8, 13. You got 15 Agumons that you can evolve on top of regularly. So I never have an issue seeing them. On to the level 4s. We got 4 copies of Agunimon. A Goonie for game is always a thing in Bond-style decks. So, always got to play your hybrids, people. Always got to play your hybrids. 4 is the correct number. You cannot go down on this card. You can, however, add a Burning Greymon if you are not seeing enough of these. And I'm considering cutting a Geo Greymon in my list for another copy of, a copy of Burning Greymon so that I can have another hybrid to play. Speaking of Geo Greymon, I am playing that card. It does come out of the new starter deck, and it will let you pop something with 4,000 or DP or less whenever you play it. And that is just overall pretty good against the Mirror, against GabuBond, and against decks that kind of shoot out a lot of rookies without any remorse. And with the 6 play cost, you can just be at your memory tamers, like have you be set at 3 off your memory tamer, play this, put your opponent to 3, and, you know, dance around their memory tamer while getting a body on board and dealing with one of theirs. Plus, this will give you an extra memory if you tap Marcus and you swing with it. So it is a true Greymon name, and that's pretty nice. But I do think I want to go down to 1 and 1 burning. But this card does give you extra pressure because it can be played from security. And this is a deck that likes putting on as much pressure as possible. So I do like this card. It is pulling its weight. And I highly recommend that you try it out in your list. So this is by far the MVP of the deck. The Promo Greymon. I was playing this card a lot in BT1 and then basically never again. But you have a billion AguBonds, so this card puts on a lot of early game pressure. It puts on a lot of mid-game pressure. And there are some times that because of this card, you just don't even have to play your Bond. And if you can go into a game without playing Bob, then you can keep all of your security and basically try to rush down your opponent and make them work twice as hard to get you down. So this card is really good. It adds so much to your aggression, and this is one of the main advantages that this deck has over GabuBond. The key difference being that this deck has more offensive pressure in cards like this Greymon, so to speak, and more removal. And GabuBond has more consistency because it just has more cards that can draw you pieces. But the last level 4 that I'm playing is 2 copies of Cordramon. Again, since this deck is lacking in consistency compared to GabuBond, I am playing these so that I can evolve on top of red cards and draw another card while putting up some amount of defense to build. And it is good, but I do want to play these over the Mechanorimon in a list like this, just so I can get the extra cycle if I need it. But yeah, Cordramon is good. It's just good at kind of slowing your opponent down in the early game and forcing your opponent to use their heavy removal like Bond or Rattlestar in those matchups. But against Jessamon, they just kind of pierce over it anyway. So people are arguing against blockers this format. I don't know exactly where I stand on that, but I definitely think that this is a deck that you shouldn't really be playing more than 2 in. So I am playing the 4 obligatory Bob. Bob is really good. Bob is your win button. Again, you have games that you win without him, but he's there, and he's big, and he's a great card, and he will continue to be a great card. The last Digimon that I'm playing in the deck is Magnadramon. I like this card in this deck a lot more than I like it in GabuBond. And the reason for that is because this deck feels like it needs more defense sometimes because it needs to draw and do its pieces a little bit faster. And because it doesn't have Hammer Sparks to play down multiple Lobomons in a turn, sometimes you will be just short of game, and so Magnadramon does help in situations like that. And this also feels better because you are playing heavy options like Atomic Blaster and Gaia Force. So stacking those always feels good. And this is a card that is good in a list like this. I just don't know how much I personally like it. This is a card that you have to be committed to if you're going to play it in your list. And if you... I recommend trying it and seeing if you like it. And if you do like it, I would try to fit 2 of it in. And if not, then don't worry about it. So that's my thoughts on this card, but I definitely wanted to include it in the profile because I haven't mentioned it in GabuBond yet. So we have for our Tamers 4 copies of Tai and 2 copies of Marcus. 2 copies of Marcus is the bare minimum. You should be playing 2 to 3 Memory Tamers in a list like this, but because I'm only playing 4 Agoutimon and no Burning Greymon, I was thinking that 6 Tamers was fine. And realistically it is. If that's the ratio that you're going for, this is, in my opinion, correct. The 4 ties is absolutely mandatory, but Marcus is a good card. You could go up to 3. I might. But right now I'm only playing 2. If I were to cut the Magnadramon, I'd go up the Marcus. So for the options, I have a Delicate Plan. I see a lot of people playing 2. I could go up to 2, but AguBond already trashes a card from their security, so I feel like you kind of have a slightly better matchup into security control than GabuBond does anyway, just because you have more aggression. So I felt like only one of this card was fine. If you feel like you want to play 2, absolutely go for it. That is not the wrong decision. I'm playing 2 copies of Red Memory Boost. This is another card I want to go up on because it is a massive consistency piece for this style of deck, and is the only way that you're gaining extra memory, because you don't have access to Hammer Spark. So I really like this card, and this is the card that I'm the most likely to bump up in my list, in my opinion. It's just overall really good. And the starter decks did wonders for AguBond with the starter deck Agumon with this card. Even GeoGreymon's really good, so I really like what that deck did for this list specifically. We have 3 copies of Atomic Blaster. This is great generic removal, and it deletes a wide array of cards, and I absolutely love it. And then we have 3 Gaia Force. It's kind of a panic button option if you see it in your hand, but also it's a great card to see in your security, because if you do, then you're just kind of winning the game then and there with a Greymon swing on the next turn, followed up with a Naguni or something, or possibly even a Bond. So absolutely love the removal package that Red has, and if you're playing a Bond style deck, if you're trying to choose between the 2, Red has more removal. If you want to play more removal, try Red. So this is one of the main appeals for it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the deck. I really, really like it. It's very aggressive, it's a lot of fun, and you win a different way almost every time. Like, you can Aguni for game, you Rookie Rush out, you beat down with just the promo Greymon, Bob is really strong, you control with options. Like, this deck just feels very fluid, and it can do a lot of things. So if you're looking for a really good deck to play in the Bt6 meta, and you want a deck that will just increase in power whenever we do get the EX cards, because the EX GabuMon is just absolutely broken for this deck, then yeah, I recommend you try this out. Try picking these cards up, and yeah, it's just really strong. So that's about all I have to say on it. Again, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.